is up, everyone? It's Jessica. Welcome in. I always want to say the water's fine, and I almost said it then and I just caught myself because I always, anytime I say it, I edit it out because it's weird and I don't know why I can't stop saying it. In fact, if anything is fine, it's the coffee. I should start saying welcome in, the coffee's fine. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some quick little reviews on a bunch of products I've been trying over the past few months. Some of these I've used longer than others, but they're all products that I definitely have a good handle on how I feel about them and whether I'd recommend them or not. This is kind of my way to make sure that I'm following through and following up on any first impressions videos that I've done, etc. Okay, through most of 2020, I've been doing these every other month, so I can link my playlist if you want to binge watch some more of these. Let's dive in to the coffee. I have a lot, so we'll try to go a little bit faster, or at least I'll try to be a little more succinct. I'm wearing most of these today, and I'll be sure to link any videos where I'm actually applying them. If you want to see them in action more, I can do that down in the description box. Let's start with one I've gotten so many questions about, and I'm finally ready to kind of share my thoughts. This is the Fenty Beauty bronzer. It's their new cream bronzer, and I have the shade number 2 Butter Biscuit. I'm definitely happy with the shade choice. Here's what I've realized about this. It reminds me a lot of the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel bronzer that was like revamped, and I have the old version and it's really, really good. It is so similar to that. This one is not quite as creamy as that, but the reality is this comparison doesn't really matter because they have reformulated that Chanel one. The other thing is this is cheaper. And so if you've been wanting to try a product like that, a cream bronzer that's really good, I feel like this stays in place really well. It's easy to apply. I apply it with let me grab it. The nice thing is that my little vanity where I actually get ready in the morning is now in this room, so I can like grab, anyway, okay. This brush is the bomb to apply any kind of cream bronzer like this. This is the e.l.f. Ultimate Blending Brush. It is my new favorite. I've gone through quite a few loves of different brushes for this purpose. This is my favorite one. It's super soft, it blends it well, so I used it today and I just think it looks so glowy and pretty. You can get heavy-handed with it, especially depending on your skin tone versus the shade you got. I definitely like applying this best with a brush. When I've done it with a sponge, it works fine. It's just a little harder to get it where you want it, if that makes sense. So all of those words to say, I like it. It's not as creamy as I think I expected, but it's still a cream, but I think because it's not quite as emollient, it makes it stay in place really well. So definitely recommend. So I tried the entire L'Oreal Age Perfect line in a video recently, and I know my thoughts on all of them. Some I'd recommend, some maybe not. So this is the Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation. Definitely wait for a sale for any of these. L'Oreal is kind of overpriced. I really like this. I know this has been kind of hit or miss depending on the YouTuber. I've seen some YouTubers that absolutely loved it. I've seen some that kind of felt wishy-washy. I really love it. Now, I like a medium coverage, more moisturizing, dewy foundation. I like it to have SPF just to have that extra bit of protection on top of whatever SPF I'm already wearing. I'm wearing the shade 15 Rose Ivory. I think it's a pretty darn good shade match if you are near my skin tone. I apply mine with a sponge. You could definitely apply it with your fingers. I don't apply most foundations with a brush, so I'm not one to kind of speak to that. I really like it, y'all. I think this lasts about half the day. So if you're someone that's needing something to last 12 hours, 15 hours, this might not be the thing. You'll start to notice it break up on your nose, especially like for me, I get a little oily there. Now, if you powder it, which I'm gonna recommend a powder in a second, it works even better. I've been using this like non-stop the past month. I love it. You don't have the votes. I've got Hamilton stuck in my head. Anyone else? I'll like lay in bed and the songs are just like replaying. Right now I have this song, I think it's like halfway through one of the Cabinet Battle songs where I think it's Jefferson and Madison are saying, you don't have the votes, you don't have the votes. And I like that harmony and okay, don't let me geek out anymore, okay? All right, but on that same vein, I really like the Age Perfect Creamy Powder Foundation. I have the shade 305. I have been really enjoying it both with the serum foundation, but also just with whatever I'm wearing. It adds nice coverage. I put it in my T-zone today. Nice coverage, especially on the nose. This is something I love to use to touch up with. So let's say I am wearing that L'Oreal thing and I've been sweating, you know, it's summertime. I'll grab this. It comes with a sponge you could use. I typically will just use whatever blender I had from that morning, and I'll just tap it on my nose and on the middle of my forehead, and it is gorgeous. It's still a powder. You're gonna see it if you have peach fuzz, but it's not as bad as other powders, and I love the added layer of coverage, so totally recommend. By the way, this top, I love this color, like an emerald green. I got it in a Stitch Fix recently, and I hadn't ordered a Stitch Fix like subscription box in a hot minute. But I did it on a whim because I wanted some like new shirts for summertime, and every shirt they sent was really cute. If the vlog, I did share like a try on haul within a vlog that is either already up on my channel or it's about to be up depending on a few factors. So if it is up, I'll link it. If not, subscribe, stay tuned. But I really like it. I do have a Stitch Fix referral thing where if you click the link in the description box that I have, you get $25 off. I also get $25 off. So I always like to be upfront with that. But I really like it, and I think Stitch Fix, they are the best at cute shirts. They always have cute tops. Let's talk about this uoma concealer. This is their Woke concealer. I have the shade number 2. I really like this. And you know what? I have to say, as I used it more, it blends beautifully with both a brush and a sponge. It just blends in really nicely and it actually stays. This is one of the few concealers I've ever tried that creases the least. Like it's almost non-existent, and that is crazy, but it actually still covers. So this is a special formula. I really do think it's special, and they have a really big shade range. So if you can find one that works for you, my only complaint is that too much concealer comes out every time you pull it out, like way too much. So when you're putting it on, I always have to wipe a little bit off back into the container and then tap it on because it does have higher coverage. So this is a higher coverage concealer that actually stays in place, but still looks nice. It doesn't look crepey. I don't feel like I have to set this, which is crazy because I like set every other concealer. Now that being said, I still set it because I think it looks nicer, and I use my beloved number 7 powder. I can link below. It's like $13 and it is the best under eye powder ever. Oh, to continue on the L'Oreal Age Perfect train, one that I'm not sure I would recommend is their Age Perfect Radiant Satin Blush. I got the shade Rosewood. It's a beautiful shade. When it's on, it looks nice. It's just hard to get on. I feel like it's pressed kind of hard in the pan. I feel like I'm consistently having to layer it on, and I don't really usually have that problem with powder blushes. Now, I will say I'd much prefer a blush to not be so pigmented that the second you put it on, it's like clown cheeks. But this one is just a little bit too hard to apply even still, and so that's why I could see myself eventually decluttering this. The concealer I like. It's super hydrating, and so it has to be set. If you don't set this with a powder, for me, it was slipping and sliding everywhere. It was creasing like crazy. But if you don't mind setting it, once you set it, it looks really nice. So again, I've been pairing it with that same number 7 powder. I love that it's super emollient, super creamy. I have tried blending this in with a brush. I don't think it does the best with the brush. The only way I've successfully felt like I blended it in is either with my finger or with a sponge, but definitely needs to be set. If you have dry under eyes, you might really like it. If you have oily under eyes, I don't think this is the one for you. Okay, wow, I've gotten so many questions about the new Kosas bronzer. This is the light shade. These were sent in PR, and it's just too orange for me. I think there was one lighter than this maybe, and it was too light. Or is this the lightest? Regardless, and then the ones any darker than this was way too dark. It's just a little orange for my taste. It's not a bad bronzer. I do feel like I struggled to make it look a little more seamless. I'm kind of picky with bronzer, and I don't like it to look super muddy, and I struggled with this one a little bit. Keep in mind, I'm not a makeup artist. Someone that's like really good at makeup could totally make this work, but for the price tag, I don't know that I would recommend it. I've been trying the L'Oreal Lumi bronzer, and I'm really enjoying that. It reminds me of this in a way because it has that kind of radiant quality, but it's, you know, at least half the price, if not more. Very similar effect. The Hourglass Veil Eye Primer. Okay, I'm not big on eye primer. I don't use it a lot. I don't have as many issues with eyeshadow creasing or wearing off, but I know that for people that do, it's absolutely a necessity. So I do have eye primers I like and trust. This reminds me so much of the Milani eye primer. Similar packaging, I mean, you know, but it's maybe a little bit thicker, but it's not one that's gonna like cover. So if you have veining and stuff like that, this isn't gonna do that for you, but it definitely holds on to shadow. So I think considering what the job of an eye primer is, this does a fantastic job. I just also think the Milani one does too, and these are so darn similar. I don't see why you'd need to spend the money. But if you love Hourglass, or you have a lot of money, or you have a gift card, I do think it's a very good eye primer. And you know, I've gotten a few people say, you know, Jessica, I feel like you've gotten so down on high-end products lately, and I don't mean to be, and that's why I think my thing is, I think I've just gotten to this point where I've tried so much drugstore and so much high-end, I've really just realized that you don't have to spend the money. Are there really good high-end products? Absolutely. Will I always have high-end products in my collection? Absolutely. I just realized that, you know, if it's not in your budget, there's no reason to feel like you're really missing out on something, because a lot of times you're really not. And so it's really just more of a personal thing. If you love the way packaging looks on a high-end product or whatever it is, then go for it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I'm trying to be better. I don't want to sound like I'm dogging on high-end, because they can be really good. But I also want to have that healthy view of, but you don't have to have it if there really is something else out there that is the same, but for way cheaper. You know what I mean? I'll get off my high horse. I need to have a coffee mug that says I'm on my high horse. Okay, speaking of drugstore, I have a few new drugstore loves. This one I wasn't sure I would like, but I have grown to really like. This is the Maybelline Hyper Easy Brush Tip Liner. Now, I'm typically a felt tip liquid liner gal, but I used this today and holy cannoli, it's super black. It stays really, really well. You can get that kind of wing if you want that. I've been super into a nice thick wing on top and then nothing on the bottom. I just think it looks so nice. I use this alone. A lot of times I'll just put it on top of other liner just to kind of darken it, and then, like I said, add that wing. I think this is great. It's a super fine tip. I think the packaging with like the light pink metallic is pretty. It's kind of got like a hexagonal shape. I always say that word and I never know if it's real, and then I never look it up. But I really like it. I would totally buy that again. I probably will. This is something I have bought again. I've already run out of and I bought again. So this is the Revlon Colorstay Micro Hyper Precision Gel Liner. So it's a 1.5 millimeter liner. And if you don't have any frame of reference, it's a really, really thin liner. Now, I personally love it because on most days that I'm not filming or I'm just kind of bumming around the house and I want to put a little makeup on, I'll grab a really thin liner like this and just kind of quickly tight line and darken that area around my lashes. This is perfect. So I had the black one. This time I bought the brown. They're both incredible. I love that it comes with a really tiny sponge. So if you want to smudge it out, you can. It's awesome, y'all. And if you haven't seen my drugstore dupes video from a few weeks ago, watch it after this. I found so many good drugstore alternatives, and most of them are honestly better than the high-end version. But this was one of my big finds because I've loved the Hourglass 1.5 millimeter liner for years, and it's expensive and I was running out of it every month. So this I'm still running out of every month, but it is, you know, a third of the price. So I was so excited to try this one. This is the Tarte Maracuja Tinted Hydrator. I like it. I would never buy it again, only because I don't feel like it's so similar to the CoverGirl Skin Milk, okay? It's got about that amount of coverage, maybe slightly more, but I'm not sold that it does. But it makes your skin look healthy. If you don't have a lot to cover, I think you'd really like it. But I would almost say try the CoverGirl one first. Make sure you like that format, and if you do and you can find a shade that works, I do think this is nice. So I do find myself reaching for this. It applies nicely with the fingers, with a sponge as well. And y'all know my favorite product like this is the Misha BB cream, and that one has a little bit more coverage. And by the way, I have learned that Misha BB cream is expanding their shade range. Thank goodness. I am so pumped. I also heard they were reformulating though, and I was like, no. So I'm like, please don't screw up what was already perfect. Just add shades, please. I'd be cool with the repackaging though. The red, like, I feel like it could be like cuter if it was like white and gold, or, you know, if I ruled the world. I like that it's a squishy tube though with a pump. That's pretty cool. I'm really enjoying the Beauty Bakerie Flour. This is a loose setting powder. I used it basically everywhere but my nose. I set everything with it. What I like about this is because it is pretty finely milled, I'll apply this everywhere, and because it's super hot where I live in the Midwest right now, my makeup's actually staying pretty well, and I think I have this to thank because, like I mentioned, I use a lot of more dewy hydrating products, and because I've been using this all month, it really thinly sets it where it doesn't look super powdery. Man, I feel like my skin still looks glowy, but it actually holds it in place. So I think this is awesome. The packaging has actually been really nice. It's a little bit smaller packaging wise than a lot of loose powders I have. And I'll just open the sifter, tap a little bit out, and that's pretty much always exactly the amount I need to just kind of lightly dust all over my face. And I feel like I'm kind of picky about loose powders, but that's one I really am liking. Another one, this is kind of an underrated drugstore product, and I am working on an underrated drugstore favorites video, like a bunch of products that I feel like no one's talking about that are so good. That's coming up. I'm filming it next week. But this is the Physicians Formula Natural Defense Multicolor Stick. This is underrated in my opinion. It's the shade Soft Pink. It's the blush I'm wearing today. And I feel like I've talked about this a lot, so I'll go quickly. I'll just draw it on my cheeks. You can blend it with your finger real fast with a sponge. I usually use like a synthetic duo fiber brush, and it blends in so fast. It actually stays in place. It's a cream, but it's not crazy creamy, so it stays, but it also looks like nice. Like I feel like my skin looks healthy when I use this. So I freaking love this stuff. Like can't stop using it, love it. Totally didn't think I would. Like I genuinely was like, maybe, and it's fantastic. Next is the ColourPop Blush Crush palette. I don't think I'm on ColourPop's PR list anymore, so this is one of the last few I got. I could have seen myself actually buying this on my own, just based on the fact that I really like pinks and peachy shimmery colors on my eyes. That's just my favorite right now. This is beautiful. If you like that kind of a look, the only ones I really don't use are these two because they're deeper purples, which are beautiful, but they have this glitter in them that I'm like, I'd kind of rather them have been matte. But I think this pink color in the middle is kind of unique. They're shimmers. I love ColourPop's shimmer formula. They are so beautiful. And I feel like with a lot of these shades, I can just use one color and blend it and the look is done. It is so pretty. So I actually think this is a very nice one if this color story speaks to you. Oh my gosh, I just went so fast. I'm sure I'm forgetting a million things. If there's anything you know I tried in the past few months and I didn't mention it today, let me know in a comment. I'll kind of make a list for my next speed reviews video. If you enjoy makeup and vlogs and cooking and fashion and all kinds of stuff like that, I'd love if you subscribed and joined our happy little corner of the internet here. And of course, I'd love to say hey over on my Instagram. It is at It's Jessica Braun. I kind of vlog in my Instagram stories a bit. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.